Hey, Unicousins. This is Uppity Unicorn. I'm so happy to have you here with me once again. I definitely don't take for granted your attendance. It's 11:11 a.m. on my clock, so I'm going to go on ahead and make a wish, and that is I wish that the people who are subscribed to my channel understand and embrace the lesson of detachment that we are learning from Melody Cherie Rogers. Detachment, detachment, detachment. I don't know if you know what a Sufi is, but one of the greatest Sufi lessons, this is the spiritual, mystical side of Islam, okay? But one of the greatest lessons of Sufism is detachment. It's the only way that a person can be truly free because as long as you have an attachment, you can be bought or sold at a price, okay? So when I look at these recent events, content creators who think child abuse is tea, I know to say to myself, detach, because I used to be a Sufi. Uh, I can still consider myself a Sufi under certain circumstances, but when I tell you the boot camp of being a Sufi. I'm talking, I went to Yemen. I'd get up at midnight, between midnight and 3 a.m. to pray. I would fast. I would be in the desert in 114-degree weather, not eating, not drinking. And it's because sometimes when you eat too much, your limbs become too heavy for righteousness. When you're saturated, you can't really roll out of your bed and get on your face and pray. I didn't say on your knees and pray. I said on your face and pray. That food might come up, might make you, you know, vomit or something. So sometimes emptying the body of worldly things makes room for spiritual things. And I noticed that Mel has a lot of Sufi ways about her. And really, when I think of Sufis in Islam, I think about African Americans and Christianity. I think they're very compatible with the kind of things that African Americans do. I know some people look at African Americans in churches and they see us catch the Holy Spirit and start shouting, and we do shut ins and we tarry. You know, the African American church is one of the only churches that uses the word tarry, not Terry, somebody's name, but tarrying in the spirit, all that humming and hemming and thank you and that clapping and that praise and that we don't need no music, and you just see people praying, and sometimes they can even say no words, they just wave their hands, and there's a level of worship there and surrender. Somebody say, I surrender all. Surrendering all, that hymn, that African American hymn, that Negro spiritual, when you surrender, there's liberty. There's liberty. And surrendering is nothing but detachment. So some of us in this love and marriage Huntsville sector, we see people who have all the tea. We see people who have 30, 40,000 subscribers, and we cannot detach. We cannot let go because we're like, they're popular. They're entertaining. They're the first. And I'm just like, no, no. I saw it with, the cake gate. I saw it with, a number of things. And I'm just like, when you see somebody go to the depths of hell on another person, I mean, I used to say this in my old sector because people would drag me by my deceased son. And I'm just like, when a person will go to the grave just to dig up dirt to throw in your face, they're not worth holding on to. But people had such a fear of missing out, such a FOMO, such a, well, I want to be with the in crowd. I want to sit at the cool kids table. I want to be entertained. I'm just like, you're too attached and you're weak and you're not a good soldier and you're not an asset to any team you go to because you're not ready to pack up and leave. You're not ready to unhitch your trailer from people's truck when they've done too much. When people say you hit below the belt, it means you've done too much. So let's say two people are boxing and one of the boxers, it's not kickboxing, but for some reason you kick somebody in the nuts. It's like, guess what? That's below the belt. You've done too much. You've cheated. You forfeited. You've done what is wrong. So when you hear somebody calling T child molestation, you have to unhitch your truck or understand that you're a spineless weakling. You have to turn your back. You have to come out from among them and be ye separate. You have to understand that a little leaven leavens the whole lump. And leaven is yeast, for anybody who doesn't know. I'm quoting First Corinthians, I believe it's chapter 5. I am no longer a Christian, but there is still so much of the Bible that, in my opinion, is good for edification of the mind, body, and soul. So I don't hate on the Bible just because I'm no longer a Christian. Okay. The Hebrews, my ancestors, some of your ancestors, if you are African American, during the Passover, they would eat unleavened bread. Okay. Somebody say flatbread. Somebody say crackers. Somebody say matzos, right? They would remove the yeast. They would make like you see people who have chapati or injera or paratha, anchello in so many different cultures where people make flatbread. Somebody say tortilla, flat bread. Okay. And during the Passover, you ate flatbread. And just a little bit of leaven, just a little bit of yeast would give you some big, thick Wonder Bread, some big ass Sara Lee bread. And that bread is fine, but it's not for the time. It's not for the period of sacred fasting and sacred observances. You pull it out. And so it's stuck in the Bible as a metaphor when they are telling the church at Corinth, when Peter is writing to the church, Paul is writing to the church at Corinth, and he's just like, what are you doing mixing with these filthy motherfuckers? I'm sorry to say it like that, but really that's how it went down. It's like, what are you doing in these churches with T.D. Jakes and his motherfucking kids and these chorus and shit? Don't you know a little leaven leavens the whole lump? Don't you know that association brings about assimilation? Therefore, come out from among them and be ye separate. You saw the damn video of the original Straight No Chaser where Nay and Ariane are talking about some child molestation and rape like the shit is funny. And you notice, I'm sorry, forgive me, I'm not mincing words here. The words that I'm using will very much offend the YouTube algorithm. So by all means, if you want to support my content, let me find a banner real quick. There you go, because I can't imagine that this video will be monetized. But I'm a millimeter. I have had wrenches snatched from me for being a millimeter. I have been isolated and ridiculed and exiled from communities for being a millimeter, and I'm still her. Because lucky for me, I was already a tarrying African American Christian. I was already a Sufi. I was already a person who had to learn detachment. When you can bury your own son, you can bury anybody. I have already mastered the art of goodbye. Hell, I'm a mother bereaved and a widow. What can you take from me at this point? So I know when I see some shit that cannot be excused nor condoned, I know to unhitch my wagon and say toodaloo and say goodbye. And I'm looking at the people who can't as weaklings. I did the same thing with the whole cake gate thing. I'm not Melody MC. That shit didn't happen to me, but it didn't have to. I don't have to bite the donut to know that it's sweet. And so many of us walk around here, well, he ain't never did nothing to me, so we cool. Well, she ain't never did nothing to me, so we cool. I'm free from you. I have nothing to do with people who are that way. You go ahead and you do something to trending, it's like you did it to me. And don't even get me started on the Gossip Girls. I know those people. I know what they're like. So you don't have to do it to me personally. And so many of us as people, I mean, even this epitome of a woman bullshit as conference. When they had Martell up and through there, you think they couldn't do a quick Google search on Martell? Google Martell right now and see what comes up. See if you don't see a big fat Martell Lavore Holt mugshot and the charges written therein. And they were going to have this guy at this workshop until a bunch of people started complaining about it, and they realized people were more woke to who he really is. They just wanted a fine motherfucker to go up in there because they thought he might swing some cheap ass dusty dick their way. You got to be able to say to yourself, maybe this nigga fine, maybe this nigga can hang a suit, maybe he's got fame and clout, but fuck this nigga. I don't give a fuck about what you have because you go below the belt when you're pillow talking to your goddamn side chick about how your wife was raped as a child or molested as a child. It's fucked up. There's no excuse for that. There's no coming back from certain things. I see people like, oh, Wanda, she defended Mel. Oh, so she had a moment of fucking clarity. This is still the same woman who tried to start a rumor about Sugar Mama being a bastard. I heard my sister one TikTok say, just because it's not the gutter you went to, don't mean you didn't go to the gutter still. You went to the gutter on Kiki and on Mel in a different way than Ariane went to the gutter on Mel, but it's the gutter nonetheless. I got enemies I won't clown about their child molestation, y'all. I got people I don't care for that I won't clown about their dead kids, y'all, because of who I am. Because of who I am. Because of my caliber of human being, because of my standards. I'm not a lowlife. I'm not a gutter snipe. I'm principled. You don't have to value me. You don't have to give a fuck about me. You don't have to want me as a part of your community. I'm principled and I have value all by myself, with or without you. I don't know how you could be a millimeter and still be subscribed to those kind of channels and still follow those kind of people, because that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. I remember Mel saying clearly, you cannot be a millimeter and be subscribed to Anthony Lofty's at the same time. That flew out of Mel's mouth. She said there's a line in the sand here. And I'm not just talking about him or talking about Nay from Original Straight No Chaser, but damn it, in general. What matter of human being are you? I dare you to work on your soul. I dare you to do the dark work. I dare you to do your shadow work and work on your soul. I dare you to look in the mirror and really face yourself, the good and the bad of you, and assess yourself. These psyche vows, these things that Martel has been ordered by a court to do, it's because he can't size up himself. He's not a reliable narrator of who he is himself. And so somebody else got to figure it out. I dare you to assess yourself. So the fuck what if these people are popular? So the fuck what if they're cool? So the fuck what if they're on the phone with a cheap ass bitch like Ariane? So the fuck what? Will you not let go because you're impressed by that shit? Me personally, I'm finna ignore these people into oblivion. When you can mock that kind of shit, you're not on my level. I cannot mix with you because a little leaven leavens the whole lump. And before you know it, I'll be in the kitchen trying to bake flatbread, and I'm going to come out with something lump and plump like a goddamn loaf of bread or something. And for my purposes, I don't want that. I dare you to look at yourself in the mirror and call yourself what you are, because if you can still follow people after that. I took my hands off of Wanda a long time ago. A long time ago. But for the people who were holding on even after she was calling Sugar Mama all manner of bastards and talking up Mel's skirt and Mama Vans, I'm just like, who are you? Who are you? Fuck looking at Wanda crazy. I'm looking at you crazy, because what are you made of? If you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. And you don't give a fuck. You just want to have a good time. I don't need to know you in person when I can look at how you act online. That's enough for me. If you have some dignity and some decency about yourself, start ignoring these people who go all the way there into oblivion. Because I'm going to tell you like this. If you're a grown adult over 25, 35 years old and you can joke and you can laugh and exchange notes about child molestation, you need your ass whooped. Somebody needs to come see you in the physical and the spiritual and the mental. It's too far. It's simply too far. When you can be a part of an organization where people are confiscating folks' kids, where a Cora Jakes can be on her third and fourth motherfucking child that she stole, and you can be a part of that shit, you need to be checked. You need to be checked. And better yet, you need to check yourself. I am a person, I don't like TD Jakes. When I was much younger, my mom was a fan, so I became a fan. And the man is a wordsmith, and you can't take away his talent from him. But if talent blinds you, then what are you? If it's fuck character, the nigga's talented, then okay. We got differences then. I'm like Cat Williams. Cat said you can't party with Diddy. Diddy's gonna want to party, and you got to tell him no. TD Jakes ain't tell him no. Denzel Washington said the same thing indirectly about Diddy. He said, when you got to leave before the devil comes to the party. If you're going to go to Hollywood parties, you got to leave before the devil shows up. Before the mansion party becomes one great big orgy, and all the sex workers come out and all the little kids who were groomed come out, you got to be gone. You got to be gone before the sun sets. I had a dream one time. I had a dream I was in a club dancing. And the club was like this. There were people in the club dying to get out. And there were people in the club eager to get in. People outside the club eager to get in. But what would happen is if you weren't outside of the club by sunrise, you got stuck inside. You got frozen like a mannequin and you couldn't get out. And your body didn't revive or come back to life until it was nighttime at the club again. And you would have to convince somebody in some kind of way to take your place. Or if you saw somebody drunk enough as a skunk enough not to move, you knew to make your move and walk outside the club so that you could be free again. And you know how some people, they party till 5, 6 in the morning. And sunrise doesn't happen when you start seeing the sky lighten up. Ask a Muslim, okay? Sunrise happens or the first sunrise. It happens while it's still dark. Have you ever heard somebody say it's darkest before dawn? Sunrise happens around that time, and then there's dawn that you can actually see. That dream terrified me. I had that dream years ago. I didn't have it today. I didn't have it last week. I didn't have it last year. But it really rings true what Denzel said. You got to get out of there before the devil gets there. If you're going to go to the party, fine, but just be gone before he gets there. Don't stay all night. You go there, you shake some hands, and you leave. You come early, leave early. Or come late, leave early. But when I look at all these things that I'm hearing on YouTube, from Cora Jakes stealing kids, from the original Straight No Chaser on the phone with Ariane, talking about Mel allegedly being abused as a child, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? I promise you it's not that important to be the first one with the tea. I promise you it's not that important to be the first one with the interview. I promise you it's not that important you're not just making a personal statement. You're making a public statement about the state of your soul. And I personally, I don't need the subscribers that bad. I don't need the views that bad. And I'm a person who is autistic, who, I mean, I have a couple of streams of income. I need my YouTube income, but honestly, I don't know if I need it that bad. Scratch that. I know I don't need it that bad. So just like you finna stand on whatever you're gonna stand on, I'm gonna stand on what I'm gonna stand on, and it's fuck these people. I remember going hard and heavy for Monique in Queen Sheba's chat, and then her son came out and nullified every fucking thing that I said. And if you saw how hard I was going when we were talking about Monique and Tyler Perry, you would have thought she was family. I didn't give a fuck. 700-800 people in the chat, and they could all suck my dick. I was just going in. I didn't need a posse because I've been this way all my life. It's always been me against the crowd. No one ever offers to me a fucking one-on-one. And I didn't give a shit because I'm seasoned in this kind of warfare. And then her beautiful son came out, and I had to swallow every fucking word. You think I wanted to? I'm always team black girl. I'm always team black woman. I had to eat that shit up because what kind of human being am I if I don't? I can say as far as what happened between her, Tyler Perry, Oprah, and Lee Daniels, yeah, I believe her. But when I'm looking in the spirit with my spiritual eye, I say you're losing this because you lost that. You're going through this because of what you did to your kid. And I had to swallow my words and swallow my pride and be wrong and adjust to the fact that I was wrong. Maybe not about certain details, but about my overall perspective, I was wrong. I can honestly, in my personal opinion, spiritually speaking, Monique deserves it for what she cost her son, her eldest son, her firstborn child, Shalon. But I'm an across the board ass bitch. I'm an across the board ass bitch. I am no respecter of persons. You're good. I don't give a fuck if you're the king, the queen, or a pauper and a peasant in that kingdom, bitch. You're good. I respect you. You're bad. I don't. And I don't give a fuck what crowns you have. I don't give a shit about how lowly people treat you. When I see you doing the right thing all the time, I'm going to exalt you. I just thank God for autism because most autistic people are this way. That's why people don't fucking like us, because we don't play hierarchy games. We don't have the sense. We don't have the sense to honor a pecking order. We know that it's there, but we don't get it. We're just like, what do you mean you're the alpha if you don't pay no bills? What do you mean you want submission if you're not a protector and provider? You a bitch. We don't get it. And we offend people all the time because of the way that our brains are made. But I'm telling you, it gives you good character and a good sense of justice. I thank God for my autism. I'm a direct ass bitch. And I hold blind justice in my heart. And however the scales go in your favor or against your favor, I'm able to accept and deal with that. I'm even able to accept and deal with that when it comes to me. There are tragedies that have happened to my life, and in my mind, I say this happened because of that. I did this and deserve this. My judgment doesn't even miss me, nigga. My judgment doesn't even miss me. I'm not exempt. I don't get to wiggle out of it. The average autistic person is this way. If you don't believe me, ask. Ask them. Ask us. So when I start turning my back on people, when I start walking away from people, and I look at you, watch the same situation, and you don't do it, I'm looking at you funny too. Because how could you? The last thing I want to say here is don't bring me any bones. I used to say this all the time years ago. I'm not as new to YouTube as some of our other content creators are in the Love and Marriage Huntsville sector. I've got years on most of the people in this sector, and that's fine. There are people who are newer than me and more successful than me, and good for you. God bless it for you and multiply it for you. But I've been on here a while, and one of the things I've been saying, don't bring me a bone. Whatever is meant for me to find out, I will find it out on my own in a due time. Don't drag me to bones. Don't tell me what people saying about me. I said what I said. And if you don't like it, talk about it. If you don't like it, you drag me for it. That's fine. But if you catch somebody doing that to me about me, don't tell me about it. I'm not interested. Because harsh as it sounds, these are people who are not important to me. Objectively and subjectively, these are people who I find unimportant. When you can't walk away from and abandon a person who mocks child abuse, child molestation, I find you unimportant. I find you unworthy of my personal company. I can't do it. So I've already told you what my game plan is when I see people do this kind of stuff to Melody, because Melody represents so much more than just Melody. She really does. Melody on a level represents the average Black woman. I don't know what you think about the average Black woman, whether you think she's Sukihana or you think she's, I think the average Black woman is Melody. She's good, she's righteous, she's a good mother, she's had a good mother, and she gets dogged out and isolated by the world. Every time I uplift Mel, I uplift myself, I uplift my mother, my sisters, because we're all males. And that's why when I see anti-millimeter content creators trying to warm up to content creators, I'm like, bet, I see you and I don't respect it. But I know my millimeter sisters have good hearts, and they're gonna act like Mel and accept people that don't mean them any good. They just want to benefit from them, and I have to let it happen. Because what happens, I warn you, and now I look like the messy one. So nope. But when you see what I've seen, maybe you'll let me know. But this is a lot, and you've got to learn detachment. You've got to learn to unattach. I loved my previous sector. I loved what I did before I did Love and Marriage Huntsville. I'm completely detached. I have washed and shrouded my relationship with that shelter, and prepared that shit for burial. Not even prepared, because that's present, or that's, you know, present, past participle, whatever. It's been done years ago. It's already been laid to rest, because it was too much hypocrisy. It was too much people saying one thing and doing another, and thousands of subscribers who didn't give a fuck about the hypocrisy of some of these content creators. The bunch of pygmies telling you to stay away from Dusties when their type is Dusties. And they just want more Dusties for themselves. They're not really about it. They're not really about the self-improvement. They're not really about the game that they talk. They would be telling you certain content creators ain't shit. Meanwhile, they got back chats with them, hanging out with them. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get comfortable with that. And I love that about myself. And I love that about my autism. We are real ass, sincere ass, genuine people. And what you see is what you get. I don't know how you're not disgusted. I don't know how this stuff doesn't make your stomach hurt. And then we some amnesia ass having folks in this new Wi-Fi generation. Some shit happens, and because it happened a couple of months ago, we forget about it and we cool with these people again. I was in my 20s when I said fuck Diddy. Y'all, I never went back because the music is good. I never went back because the dude has money. I never went back because he got with Carisha. I didn't turn back on my heels and decide, well, he popping, so it's just no. So I don't know how you see some of these content creators do this level of stuff, this level of harm, and you don't learn, you don't know to walk away. And all I can say is that you have not mastered detachment. Detachment has mastered you. You're afraid of it. You won't let go. You keep checking for people. You don't even need to. In the words of Melody, I am not checking for you. But y'all keep checking for people who, if you mean Melody no good, they mean the average Black woman no good. Because I don't know what you've experienced in your life, but the average Black woman, in my experience, is the shit. Is honest, is caring, is full of integrity, loves and protects her kids, is a mama bear, is successful, is intelligent, is beautiful. I'm sorry, I don't know what hood you came from. I don't know where you were raised. I don't know how you came up to the point where you think all Black women are ghetto ass, blue hair having trash. I don't have that experience. I don't. Some of the most trash ass Black women I've met in my life are because I've gotten onto YouTube. And I was very much traumatized by that shit in my initial years as a content creator. I opened myself up to these people. I didn't expect that shit because I wasn't used to it. It's just like how for Harriet, Kimberly Nicole Foster, how she was so taken aback that some of these elderly Black men in the Black manosphere would stalk and harass her the way that they did because she was only exposed to elders being elders. Her life, the ilk that she comes from, elders were always elders and mannerable and in their respective place as above you, as more honed and as more, as basically better than you, able to guide you. She wasn't expecting filth from people with gray heads of hair. And I can say that about my growing up with Black women. You were always some exception when you were just a bitch and a horrible human being with no compassion. They were in the minority as far as how I was raised and who I came up around. So to me, the average Black woman is Mel. She's powerful representation because she's accurate representation of who we are. I use Mel as a euphemism for Black women. When I talk about Mel, I'm talking about Black women. When I'm talking about Ariane, you can't, if Mel wanted to sing I'm Every Woman by Shaka Khan, she can. Ariane can't. I know we have a lot of problem in our communities with pick-me's and whatever else. I'm definitely more awake to that than I was when I first started YouTube, but I'll be damned if I sit in the company of some of these people when you've done what you've done. And maybe there are things that I've done where you can't sit in my company, but you stand on your shit though. Don't come back around just because I'm cool with so and so. Just because I got favor with so and so, just because I got a wrench with so and so. You stand on business. You stand on principle. Fuck a popular phrase. You stand on your principles. You stick to your guns. Ain't no, it's been a month and Uppity's channel's popping, so I'm gonna go back and say hi. No, if it's fuck me yesterday, it's the same energy. Keep that same energy. Stand on it. I will know nothing of OSNC, Osnick, original straight notes. I will never see the channel again. If I ever hear anything about her again, it will only be because another content creator took a snippet from her channel and played it for me. I'm never clicking there again. There are so many channels in this sector I've never clicked on again. You know, when people like Steve Harvey say bloggers are the lowest fucking life form, they say that because we don't make distinctions between ourselves and people who are on that fuck shit. And somewhere you have to draw the line. Part of the reason I admire Diana Rose so much and content creators like her is because they set a nice, high standard for our community. They beautify us and they dignify us with the good and the professionalism and the decency that they have to offer. So when we have to juxtapose that with Wanda-like ass people, it takes down our general median and it makes us look lower than what we are. We're better than that. We're better than that. We're better than mocking child abuse. We are. But bitch, turn your back on people like that. Turn your back. Give them your ass to kiss. I just, y'all, that's how I feel about the situation. This is ugly. It's ugly. I'm not fooled by Wanda either. I don't give a fuck that she had a moment of clarity. I still remember what she did to my precious sugar mama when my sugar mama could was dead. What, 3 years old? Like Tay said, you might not have went to the same gutter as Ariane did, but you went to the gutter no less. Just because your gutter was east and hers was west, it was the gutter no less. And you don't have to do that. When you have a valid gripe against a person, all you have to do is tell the truth on that mofo because it's sufficient. When I have a problem with people, I got a list of injustices and qualms that I can name to where I don't got to talk about, your dad and your cousins touching on. I don't even have to discuss that because you're actually in the wrong. You're actually trifling. And when you don't have that with a person, you need to understand that you're working with your own envy and jealousy and that the work needs to be done on you, not on them. If you have to go this low to fight somebody, the work needs to be done on you, not on them. You're the problem. I remember Kenya Summermore saying that she respects Portia because Portia has never gone to the depths that, even though Portia physically dragged her, she's never gone to the depths that Marlo Hampton went to on Kenya. When Marlo started digging into Kenya's mom and their relationship and whatnot, she was like, when you're dealing with a reality show, you can't go so far below the belt that you cannot reconcile, that now there are irreconcilable differences. You can throw the shade and you can drag people, but you have to stay above a certain level so that you can still produce a show. It's like Martell has gone so low, there can never be any reconciliation with Mel. He will always be an enemy. It doesn't matter what he says or does. But because he's gone to a place, he's gone to an irredeemable place. Like when you steal somebody's kid, like when you exploit somebody who's going through, and I'm talking about Michelle Loud and Cora Jakes, when you exploit your childhood friend because she's going through postpartum depression and she's not herself and she's temporarily not in her right mind, and you exploit that situation to steal somebody's kid, there's something wrong with you. You're the issue. Especially when you come to find out Cora Jakes has done it more than once. That was the third kid she took from somebody. They find vulnerable young women who don't have good relationships with their mothers and lack of support, and they exploit them. I got a problem with you for that. I can only ever give you my back for that. You and everybody who supported you in it. I can only ever give you my back. I can't even give you my ass to kiss because I don't want your lips on it. Even they are disgusting to me. You are not uppity and arrogant because you have a standard. I'm exhausted from this conversation. This sector of YouTube has been wild for the past week. It's been wild with baby stealing and mocking child molest. It's been too much. Too dang much. Y'all are going to be who you are. All I can do is use my platform to express who I am and how I believe things should be. And by the way, I am not exempt from that. I'm not exempt from my own judgment. You purify and you clean and you dignify your community when you hold on to your standards. I'm Uppity and I'm out of here.